Every once in a while, something like this happens.
Morning. Morning, Sean. So today we're going to the V&A, the Victoria and Albert Museum, to look at a Stormtrooper original suit from Empire Strikes Back.
So for those who don't know, the V&A is the world's leading museum for art and design. So for them to call us up and want us to go and visit, you're not going to say no.
So being able to get hands-on with another original suit was an opportunity that we just couldn't miss.
Fair dues, they come from the right people. Let's crack on with it.
From the initial emails, we didn't really know what we were dealing with. We didn't have any pictures. We were just asked to go down there and see what was effectively parts on the table. We get there and Keith's laid it all out for us.
The ESB suit was made obviously for ESB. From my understanding of it, it wasn't ready for filming. It didn't get used, and then one suit has been used in pickup shots in the carbon freeze chamber. Then the other suits all seem to be used for promotional work.
Very similar to my original suit, in it's how the plastic is aged and coloured over time.
It's the kind of condition I was expecting it to be in. Great to see it up close. So the history of the suit, it was bought at auction by the BFI and then later donated to the V&A.
Again, just an amazing piece.
Keith Lodwick is the V&A's curator for theatre and screen arts. This suit has already been appraised by Stephen and Brandon from the prop store. I think Keith was put at ease when we arrived and we were basically telling him the same information that he'd already heard. It certainly gave him a bit of confidence that we knew what we were talking about. I knew what I was talking about.
It was Stephen Lane and Brandon who really began this story. Because until then it was kind of sitting in the box. The BFI said, it's a replica. It's a replica. So, and we wouldn't really display a replica? Why would you do that?
Whoa, hang on a second. Replicas? What's wrong with replicas?
So we parked it for a long time and thought, what should we do? What should we do? What should we do? And then it was Stephen that got in touch, saying that the BFI used to have a Stormtrooper. Did that come to you when they transferred their costumes? I said, yeah, we've got it installed. Do you want to come and have a look? And he said that Brandon is over from America. I said, oh God, yeah, that'd be great. So I laid it all out. They walked in here like you did, and they went, oh my God. And I was like, what? And they began looking at it, like, and telling me what it actually really was. And so they were quite gobsmacked. And so was I.
So the task at hand, the V&A needed from us: 1, a helmet; 2, a display solution so that the armour could be mounted and displayed at the V&A. As well as creating the replica helmet and building some display solution, we also needed to be aware that the BBC were making a documentary about the V&A, and were we on board for being filmed and following the progress of this particular build.
Well, I'm never going to say no to that, am I? Being part of a documentary with the BBC.
I am pretty camera shy, and this did take a lot of convincing for me to get on board with this. But eventually, Simon persuaded me to agree.
For the BBC to be in our studio, that was just a bit surreal.
The BBC have been very restrictive of what we could show on our YouTube videos. So we've snuck in as much as we felt that we could do without upsetting them. So when we met Keith, he was 100% the museum curator I was expecting. He was very knowledgeable, he was very professional. We got to the point in the day when I asked him if he was actually a fan, and at that point the atmosphere that had been created by going into this building and meeting Keith for the first time just evaporated away, and he was just the biggest fanboy.
At the end of the day, it was just three fanboys talking over a suit, like generally what we do.
From this point on, the relationship changed a little bit, and we were just all Star Wars fans. And at that point, it made sense to ask Keith if he'd ever worn Stormtrooper armour. And when he said he hadn't, we knew we had to do something about that. So initially, when we visited, we had a timeline of about a year, and we were working to that, i.e. we'd not done much. But then Keith got in touch and said the BBC were rounding up on this documentary and we needed to do something. So we decided getting the helmet ready was going to be achievable. So we just doubled down on that, made it happen. So the helmet was completed on time, and this is it. So November last year, it was time to deliver the helmet, back on the train, down to the V&A. The BBC were there, obviously, to film this for their documentary. So again, they were pretty strict on what we could and what we couldn't film, what we can show, what we couldn't show. So this is what we can show.
So we've got to keep this quiet because the BBC are filming still. We're here at the Victoria and Albert Museum. delivering the replica Stormtrooper helmet that we have painstakingly built over the last few weeks, which is the crowning glory for the original Stormtrooper suit that will be on display on
Permanent display.
On permanent display from late spring, early summer 2020.
To celebrate the 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Again, we're sort of working with the BBC. I mean, you're filming yourself coming in and out, which is a bit odd. And then doing sections of taking it out the bag and handing it to Keith and doing all this from different angles. It was a bit bizarre. But yeah, really enjoyed it.
So here we are with Keith presenting the replica helmet. When we talked about this is exactly what I had in mind. What did you think?
To me, it's like getting the crown jewels placed into my hands. This has been a project that I've thought about for years since we got this Stormtrooper costume, but I knew that we could never ever do anything with it until we had a helmet, and how on earth was I going to resolve that? So the fact that I've met you both, came up to the studio to see how this was made, and we talked about, you know, not just only having a helmet, but having one that matches the rest of our armour, which, as we know, is not white, has discoloured over time, and you have painstakingly done that, created something from The Empire Strikes Back. It's absolutely mind-blowing, and I'm so thrilled, I'm so delighted. It's like Christmas Day. Here I am, a curator at the V&A Museum, but I'm also a die-hard Star Wars fan.
So once the helmet was delivered, we still had phase 2 of this project to complete, which is building a display for the armour which protects it, which looks after it, which works with the armour, and which looks absolutely kick-ass. After the first visit, with that in mind, we looked at the armour in a different way. Rather than just being fanboys in awe of it, we actually got down to thinking about how we're going to produce this mannequin. And although we produce mannequins for our armour, this is going to be a little bit different.
I'm looking forward to the actual unveiling of this in front of so many people that are going to be there. But we've got a task ahead of us to get to that stage.
Keith is the perfect reminder about how special Star Wars is to people and just how iconic the Stormtrooper is. It's something that you take for granted when you're working with it day in, day out the way we do. So it's so good to be reminded of it and to be back in that moment and to see that that passion firsthand the way we did with Keith. Amazing.
I always get this sense of enthusiasm after anything like that. I think it's amazing, and it's amazing that these pieces are still out there.
Being the archivist, I obviously was, in 1978, I had to check my diary, on May the 4th, 1978, went to see Star Wars. Brilliant film, 100 out of 100. Favourite part, Stormtroopers break into Princess Leia's ship. Hope to collect lots of things about it. And here I am, 40 years later, with you guys holding this piece, and we're going to put this on display in the V&A Museum, the world's leading museum of art, design and performance, which I think is going to really generate so much interest and I think appeal to perhaps audiences that maybe don't usually go to the V&A because perhaps they think it's about sculpture, ceramics, paintings, all that material, but actually it's about modern 21st century design. And one of the best examples of film costume design is in Star Wars. John Mollo won an Oscar for his work, and this is all part of it. This costume lives beyond the original intentions of the films. It was designed to serve a film's narrative, and yet these have become iconic pieces that are instantly recognisable, even to someone who hasn't seen a Star Wars film. And I have met people who have not seen a Star Wars film, but they know what a Stormtrooper looks like. And I think that's part of it, part of the incredible, iconic nature of this piece. It's just astounding.
It's certainly a very proud moment for us. I mean, we've
That's fantastic.
you know, and to be able to come and see that it is on permanent display, because I didn't know it was going to be on permanent display.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
It's going to be
I just thought
permanently in the V&A.
just for the 40th anniversary.
Yeah, well, we've come to the best, and you guys are the best.
Okay, that's phase one. We've delivered the helmet. It's been an absolute joy to work with the V&A, and the story is going to continue. The BBC documentary is now finished. Secrets of the Museum, that can be seen tonight on BBC Two at 8 o'clock, or you can catch up on iPlayer, or if you're in the US, I don't know, maybe there's some way of watching it. If not, I'm sure there'll be some illegal way, because somebody will download it and put it on YouTube. Won't be us.
So this is not the end of our journey with this. The next stage is obviously building the mannequin, and we'll show you that throughout the YouTube videos that we do.
So stick with us on the YouTube channel and on the social media while we go through phase two of this, building a display fit for the museum. The BBC are not involved anymore. The documentary is finished, so we're freer to be able to show you everything as we work through this process. We have got a ton of reference material and photographs that we took of this suit that we will be sharing in the coming weeks when we get time to kind of sort out how that's going to work. But come summertime, this whole thing will be finished. It will be on display in the V&A, and I cannot recommend enough, if you're interested in this suit or interested in this video and you are able to visit London, please go check it out. You will not be disappointed. It's amazing. You will see for yourself the condition of the suit, and get that little bit closer to another original Stormtrooper.
I hate punk rockers. I like ABBA.